Hi, my name is Scott. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. I received funding on November 2nd, 2021, and I completed the evaluation in 15 days. I chose the $50,000 account because for me, I generally trade between 1 and 5 contracts, so that account size was appropriate for my trading. My trading approach can be defined as looking for supply and demand areas, using volume profile, using some Fibonacci. Try to look for areas where previous support was found or previous resistance, and using those areas to trade against. I tried Top Step in the past, um, and compared to that, I think OneUp has better rules and regulations for the longevity of a trader. I also like that once you become funded, you're not paying a monthly data fee, which is important, especially if you trade more than one product, energies, indices, and so forth. So that's very important. Yes, I have, and I continue to do so. If you're starting out in trading, if you want to get a basis for futures trading, I think it's a great platform. Um, the rules and regulations are important in the evaluation. Um, it helps you determine risk and become a long-term trader. And once you're funded, again, there's no hidden fees. You're just paying the commissions, which you pay anywhere. Beyond that, it's just up to you and what product you want to trade. So they have various products, more so than other places out there. So that's important too. If you want to trade different products, bonds, energies, metals, indices, they're all there. I haven't had any issues, but I did reach out to the support team a couple of times with just simple questions. And they got back to me very promptly, usually within an hour, if not sooner. So it's been great. Yeah, I mean, once I submitted my evaluation, probably within a day or two, I got the contract. And once I signed that, then it was another day or two. So maybe 4 or 5 days total. So yeah, great, smooth transition. No issues whatsoever. No, like I said, I mean, once you become funded, um, you're just paying commissions, and that's standard across any platform. So yeah, I mean, that is that is paid for, and which that can be a big expense. Again, if you're trading more than one product or one like if you're trading energies, commodities, indices, that can add up quick. So that's all covered by the funding partner. Yeah, one time I had 2 contracts on, and that was my limit. And I tried to put a stop in it, and it as I was putting it in, it executed for another long, I think. And so I received a warning, and which is fair. I mean, that's it was my mistake, and so I did receive the warning, and wasn't my evaluation account wasn't done at that point. They just gave me the warning and said, basically, don't do it again. Which a lot of other evaluation accounts would probably end the account. So that's very fair. It's great that they do that. Gives you some leniency on the rules. Not you don't want to break them, but a mistake can be had here or there, and they accept that. Yeah, as I mentioned, I was with Top Step. I was a funded trader there for a few months. And again, some of their rules and regulations, it's not really built for the longevity of the trader. So I do like what OneUp has in place. I think it's more, it's easier for the trader to follow those rules and stay within those parameters than some other platforms out there. Again, it comes down to, for me, the platforms they allow, which are great. A lot of different platforms you can use. The data fees, not having to pay those month in, month out. and just the ease of contacting support if you need to. They have a phone number, they have an email. Um, but yeah, it's been a great experience. I have no complaints, and being with Top Step for a while, I wouldn't go back there. So yeah, yeah, I use supply and demand mostly. Just looking for areas of support and resistance and trying to trade around those. So selling into supply, buying demand, and vice versa. And that's generally what I do day in and day out. I do use some indicators. I use some momentum indicators. I use relative strength a little bit, the Williams percent R, and then I have some built-in pivots that I use as well. But I try to look for areas where those levels also support my volume profile levels, which are supply and demand. So if there's some confluence there with those levels, then that's what when I'll make a trade. I'll put an entry on, put an exit on. But I found over time those work the best for me. And so that's what I look for every day. Not amounts per se, but I want to try to maximize my profits for every trade, and keeping risk in check as you do so. So, once you're in a trade, you let the trade work for you. You try to maximize profits on every trade, obviously, while watching risk, of course. And that's the hardest thing I think for any trader is trying to manage a risk and not getting emotional on a trade. And I still still deal with that every day. So that's one of the hardest parts. Every morning, an hour or two before the open, I look at the Globex session, see where big buys and sells were overnight, where support and resistance was overnight. Then I look for intraday levels going back on a 5-minute, 15-minute, 1 hour chart, and I try to identify those levels, and that's kind of my plan for the day. And then I use intraday. I use the volume profile, the order flow from the DOM or the order book, and I try to trade into those levels. Yeah, I mean it's definitely helped me manage my risk better because you have those risk parameters which are meant to protect you, and so learning those and adhering to those is very important, especially if you want to be in this for a long time. That experience alone, sticking within those guidelines and those rules day in and day out, has helped me become a more patient trader and has helped me manage my risk. Just stick with it. It's a long process. You're always learning. There'll be mistakes. There always is. There always will be. Just managing those mistakes. But you just have to come in every day, willing to learn, willing to accept that you're going to get stopped out. You're not going to have some great days. Again, you just got to keep at it, keep learning, and keep improving. Not really. I mean, just I've had a great experience with OneUp. Again, I would recommend them to anybody, especially if you're wanting to learn the futures process. The evaluation accounts are great. They help you stay within the risk and rules, which is very important. But yeah, I mean, it's a long process. It takes screen time, and by doing these evaluations, you gain that experience. So I've been very happy, and again, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Thank you.